which began 14 years later and lasted until 1673, the Austrians had attempted to recover Silesia to no avail. At one time, Silesia had comprised of 16 principalities running their own lives, each under its own ruler. In the usual domineering manner of the Prussians, Frederick II had coerced most of them into becoming part of his kingdom. The real reason why the Prussians were so keen to have and keep Upper Silesia was the rising importance of coal and other vital minerals. Upper Silesia itself was destined to become one of the most significant industrial districts in all of Europe, with its vast production of coal, lead, zinc and iron, all of which were mined and utilized in factories on the spot. Lower Silesia became almost purely Prussian. It was left to the three principalities in the centre to hold their heads high and maintain their independence. All these thoughts passed swiftly through Zoleka's mind as she waited for her father to continue. "In our country, we have succeeded in proving our right to independence, and I believe we have even gained the respect of our Prussian neighbours." "You have been so wonderful, Papa. You know it is true. So diplomatic and tactful, that they no longer despise us as they first did." He paused, and Zoleka guessed what he was about to say. "The exception," he went on, "is of course Krnov." "You have said it before, Papa. But why is it so?" "I feel the answer rests with Prince Majmir, who has made no effort to be friendly with his free neighbours. In fact, I know very little about him." "But you must have heard a great deal." "What I have heard is not to his advantage. He is not bringing his country up to date as we have done here in Opava. He has not exploited his mineral resources as we have. In fact, I think that if he is not very careful, the Prussians will take his country over." "They must not be allowed to do so," cried Zoleka. "If they did, they might think of invading us and Cheshire next." "That is exactly what I thought," her father replied. "You are a clever girl, and I might have known you would understand why I did not say no immediately to the Prime Minister's suggestion." "But what could I do? Even if I went as a lady-in-waiting, the prince would hardly listen to me. I would just be miserable away from you, and would not be of any use to Krnov." "I don't believe that's true. With your intelligence, I am sure you would see for yourself what is wrong at Krnov, and make suggestions as to what could be done." Zoleka did not answer. He walked towards his desk and back again before he added, "If I try to interfere, or even pay a state visit to Krnov, they would undoubtedly tell me to mind my own business. What I require is a great deal more inside information to find out what is really going on. If there is real danger, then I can consult with Sheshin, and together we must do everything we possibly can to ensure that we maintain our independence." "I do understand what you are saying, Papa, but the whole idea is so frightening, and I do not wish to go away from you." "Do you really think, my dearest, that I want to lose you? I love having you beside me, and since you finished with governesses and tutors, you have made me very happy. You have prevented me from feeling as miserable as I was when I first lost your mother." "I know, Papa," Zoleka murmured gently, "and I still miss Mamma more than I can ever say."
"How could either of us feel anything else?"
There was a note in his voice that instinctively spoke to her without words. The pain of losing her precious mother was just as acute as it had been when she died. Hers had been such an unexpected death. Princess Helen had seemed to be not only radiantly happy, but extremely healthy. She paid many visits to the poor, which she firmly accepted as her duty. Then, while doing so, she had caught a foreign fever from a man who had just returned from the East. The fever was unknown to all the local doctors, who did not realize how serious it was. By the time the prince had urgently sent to Vienna for its most renowned physician, Princess Helen was dead. It was a major blow to the whole principality, as everyone who knew her had loved her. She was almost worshipped by the poor people in the city. She had cared for them, assisted them, and looked after them in a way that no ruling princess of Opava had ever done in the country's history. No less.